Welcome. Time for the Capitol Report with Pat McGuigan of CapitolBeatOK.com. And Pat, it's still early in the primary season, but the Republican primary has been topsy-turvy, created by the big upset in South Carolina, Newt Gingrich taking that with a strong vote. So what's coming up next? Florida is obviously next. What should we expect?
The one thing I think that there's beginning to be some worry, at least, even among grassroots activists, is the concern among libertarians, conservatives, generic Republicans. Is the party recoverable from the damage that's being done to each of the candidates as this goes along? So stay tuned on that. To some extent, that's always overstated, you know, when people have a good fight, but it'll certainly be worth watching. Here's some issues to think about. You have Romney being savaged for having a very successful upper class business career and being savaged over capital gains tax rates where he's paid 15%, which is what the tax rate is, and giving away 15% of his income to charity and still being criticized. Then on the other hand, you have Gingrich getting past very strongly, at least in the first round, some really pretty bad allegations from his ex-wife, and I know Marianne and I know Newt and like them both, and you know, this is just tearing me apart as a human being to watch this. But having said that, the context of him getting past that is Bill Clinton, and everybody's got to remember that. They were contemporaries, and Clinton got past his situation, and there's some Republicans apparently deciding, well, if it's okay for Clinton, it's okay for Gingrich. Superficially, that's some possible analysis. Now then, South Carolina turnout was very high. The Republicans are finally getting signs of that enthusiasm they had hoped for, much like Obama got in 2008, where he and Hillary fighting each other, Hillary Clinton, sparked higher turnout. Last observation, Florida is more populous than all those other states combined. It's like a small nation, kind of like California and New York, but very distinct from both of those.
So the bottom line for a lot of Oklahomans is this still going to be a race once March 6th arrives?
Yeah, and we're economically prosperous. Florida, the economy is down about 12% in absolute terms since Obama became president. It's potentially a very strong state for the Republicans. Early voting, to keep that in mind, because about 10% of the estimated early vote had already taken place in Florida by the time Gingrich won in South Carolina, and Romney was way ahead there. So could be interesting. State's very diverse. Immigration, Florida is more subtle than a lot of states. Because of the large presence of Cuban Americans, some of whom got here illegally. Very interesting dynamic. Ron Paul is going to be strong in the caucuses that take place throughout February. He'll be strong in Oklahoma, stronger than in a lot of primary states. Romney, Gingrich. Gingrich is looking very strong, but Gingrich has, you know, the potential to make a verbal flub or to go too far, a bridge too far in his rhetoric. We'll see. Major problem for Newt is going to be that he's not on the ballot at all in Virginia. Santorum, who's hanging around, he's not on the ballot in some key districts in Ohio. So stay tuned. And I think Missouri, I don't remember the details there. I think he's got problems in Missouri. All
right, let's turn to state politics, and we're getting to understand a little bit more of the House agenda, the Republican House agenda. It looks like a majority of the Republican caucus is committed to some sort of income tax rate reduction. What should we look for going into the session?
I'll make quick observations. The income tax reduction proposal to reduce the rates and do so in slow motion over a decade, so there's time for the economy and government to absorb that, is very strong. It was introduced, one version of it, with 24 co-sponsors, all Republicans, but that's a fraction of the support that it actually has in the Republican caucus. That's going to be very strong, very appealing. Pension reform referendum is going to come out of this session. I don't know how sexy that'll be as a political issue. It's going to be very important in terms of policy, because basically Randy McDaniel, who pioneered the pension reforms last year, what he's saying is debt is debt, even if it's pension debt, and we have to treat it that way. In the long run, I think the Justice Reform Initiative that we've discussed may be the most important thing to come out of the session, but keep in mind water, health care, etc.
All right, and a final quick note, any agency consolidation?
Yeah, Jason Murphy was really spectacular in his presentation to the press corps a week ago. week ago this week, and I would say that he has a laundry list and he has sponsors already of really deep reforms, further additional reforms in this consolidation area, efficiency. Watch that space.
All right. Read more about all these topics at CapitalBeatOK.com. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. See you next time.